Fellow female activists, we are back. It's the wellness playlist, and today we are in our movement category, and we are talking about strong bones equal more independence. Okay, so strong bones equals more independence. So, you know how this goes. If you're new here, hello, Cathy Perez. I'm a wellness coach. I want to be your wellness coach, and I'm a fellow female activist. Like and subscribe. And what we usually do in our wellness playlist is we go ahead and start with positive quotient repetitions. Okay, positive quotient repetitions or PQ reps. It's kind of like the precursor, you could say, to meditation, but it even enhances meditation. So as long as you're in a safe space, preferably quiet, okay, where you can be alone, and you can be laying down, sitting, standing, doesn't matter. What I will ask is that you elongate your spine. And so just like in meditation where you want to have that nice tall spine, go ahead and do that. And if you so choose, you can close your eyes. I will do so. And here we go. What we're going to do is, without changing our breath, what I want you to try and do is when you breathe, first of all, we're going to breathe through our nose only without changing the breathing pattern, but we are going to breathe through our nose. And I want you to do your best, but not concentrate so hard. Can you feel the coolness of the intake when you inhale? And likewise, can you feel the more warmth of your heated exhale? And if you can, it's okay. Honestly, I can't. Now, can you actually feel the air as it hits the cliff of your upper lip? Now to change what you're feeling, take some fingertips and whatever's nearest to you, go ahead and start rubbing your or touching that item with the fingertip. What do you notice? What texture are you sensing? Is there any type of temperature change? What sensations are coming up through your fingertips? And with that, let's go ahead and blink our eyes open if they are closed. And that was your first version of positive quotient repetitions or PQ reps. Well done. So today we're talking about strong bones equals more independence. All right. So point number one, very important. And again, I'm not ever sharing anything that you may or may not already know, meaning this is all common knowledge. And it's coming from the point of view that it is boring, it's mundane. And that's why people don't want to concentrate on it. But it is the 5 pillars of health that make up what actually will sustain you for longevity, just so you can better understand where I'm coming from. I'm not about gimmicks. I'm not about gaslighting you. I am about setting forth how your brain actually works so that you are more prepared to have it functioning optimally with the least amount of gimmicks, okay, without external influence. It comes from the inside out. That's the whole point of this channel. So, point number one, okay, and there's at least 4. Movement is natural. All right. So wherever you're at in your movement journey, hopefully you're able to move your body, okay, and whatever ways that you get aided in your movement, more power to you. But movement is natural, meaning our bodies were meant to move. And so in doing so, it can help with our longevity. And there's correlations, right? So you always want to know that the more you can move your body, the better chance you have of having longevity. All right, that's just the way it goes. Now, obviously, all of us have a date on the calendar, and it doesn't matter, how much we're moving. When it's our time, it's our time. But up until that moment, we can do our best to move, okay, as much as possible, because that is naturally how our bodies want to um, go about, okay, on any given moment. In any given moment, it wants to be able to move. Point number 2, movement makes bones strong. That is a given. Like if you've learned anything in health classes, if you had health class, um, movement, okay, any type of compound movement, anytime so we live right on planet Earth, and there is gravity, whether you believe it or not, there's gravity. And our bones are actually stronger because of gravity, right? But it's also because of our movement based on gravity. So gravity is pushing on us always to keep us from floating away. But it's also based on the fact that our body's movement, right, is always fighting gravity. So when you're walking about, if you have that opportunity, uh, that's a form, obviously, our most natural form of movement, but it's also a form of resistance. Okay. It's a wonderful way of resistance, and it's not pounding on our bones. And yet it can make our bones stronger. That strongness of bones, again, because strong bones equals more independence, can mean longevity. That's what we want, right? We want longevity, but with quality of life, for sure. So movement makes our bones strong. Okay, don't forget that. And if you're into it, reassert that because it's the truth. Movement makes our bones stronger. So the more we can move, the better off we have of possibly elongating, okay, or having longevity, okay, in our lifespan. Tip number 3, or point number 3, is that strong bones equal more mobility, okay, because you can pick up, let's say, the 60-pound whatever it is, or let's say, the case of water that you're going to take to, an event with volunteers. Well, instead of asking for help, which you can, right? But maybe you can take the case of 40 water bottles, which kind of makes me sad because that's plastic. Anyway, yes, I can lift that 40 piece of water bottles off the pallet and transfer it to whatever transportation it needs to get to the people it's going to help. So movement, again, always remember, can help longevity, but strong bones, okay, create more mobility, and that in turn means more independence later in life. Okay. More independence is the goal. Like, we don't want to be dependent on others. All right. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be helped by others, but we don't want to have to depend on basic needs that others are providing for us. All right. It's so important to be able to provide for yourself. Again, that's a big, there are I believe, 5 basic, I guess you could say, tasks that a human should be able to perform on their own to stay independent, right? Strong bones makes that possible because strong bones means you have theoretically mobility, and mobility then means you have independence. That's why it's so important to make sure that you, at the very least, understand that movement is going to help with independence later. Okay. And then the fourth and final point here is that movement, okay, equals muscle strength, meaning the more you move your body, the more you're building muscle. Now, it might not be, every day that you're lifting, or you're powerlifting, let's say. That's okay. But as long as you're putting some type of resistance onto your body, your muscles can grow depending on what you're partaking in, but movement equals muscle being built, okay? Or at least maintained, might be a better word, maintaining muscle. And we want strong bones, which come from muscle, because the muscles carry our bones, right? They encase our bones, or I should say, they attach to our bones and make it possible to move, right? But it is our muscle mass that helps protect and, in fact, help us move, right? Our bones. And so the stronger our bones, or I should say, the more movement we have, which increases our muscle strength, will then increase our bone strength, which increases our mobility and creates longevity. So strong bones equals more independence. And yes, you can have strong bones and unfortunately still need to be under someone's care because of your mental state. But let's propose that at least strong bones can mean that you have more independence later in life, simply because you're able to move on your own, right? And that means you can at least perform the basic skills required to keep you and yourself, I should say, to keep yourself safe is what I'm getting at. And we want to create longevity, but with quality of life. That's the goal, right? So very simple, very short, but I just wanted to get it out there. Mobility, okay, is important because that helps with movement. Movement then creates strong bones that then can mean more independence later. Strong bones, again, can be done with body weight or created with body weight, but even more so with resistance, i.e., yes, body weight is a form of resistance, but we want to up the ante as much as possible and use weighted resistance, okay, whenever you can. I have now decided to start using a weighted vest when I go walking. Now, that's going to be debatable during the really hot months coming up, but I can give it a go. So, in any case, just remember strong bones will equal more independence later. So, if for any other reason you don't want anyone having to live with you later, think about what type of movement you can take part in that is going to give you stronger bones. So then you have more independence later. And with that, we will see you next time. Until then, take care, take charge, God bless.